It is time to blast off inside the kennel. And now here is the Tomahawk Missile himself, vinndogg Radio.
Oh! Welcome to Inside the Kennel with myself, vinndogg Radio. This is a Money Bin production. Yes, indeed. You can add and like and subscribe and follow us right now at The Kennel on iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, TuneIn Radio, and wherever you download podcasts. And don't forget to also add us on Spotify if I didn't mention it earlier. And vinndogg is live on podbean.com. Yes, download the Podbean app right now. Over 1.7 billion downloads to date. The title of this show is called Cancel Culture 101. Oh yeah! Ron DeSantis of Florida, the Florida governor, says that everything should be essential. All types of work is essential. Schools are essential. People of Florida are essential. And that should be the bottom line. Ron DeSantis, take it away, brother. I know you're there.
Also led and continues to lead on protecting the livelihoods of our people. While so many other states kept locking people down, Florida lifted people up. We believe every job is essential. If you work in a restaurant, we have your back. If you are a hairstylist, we protect your right to earn a living. And if you are a parent, we ensure your kids have the right to attend school in person. Lockdowns do not work. School closures have been disastrous. Yet even today, we see across our country businesses shuttered, lives ruined, and schools closed. Indeed, in major parts of the country, students might not return to in-person instruction until the fall. Florida schools are open. Every Floridian has a right to work. All businesses have a right to operate, and Florida is better for it.
That's right. Florida is better for it, ladies and gentlemen. A toast to DeSantis of Florida. And, you know, he also went on the point of attack to talk about the big tech companies, too, trying to overrule everything. This should be DeSantis 2024. He should be elected to run for president. And I dare not say Republican Party because there's some turncoat Republicans in Washington right now. All right, so here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to let you hear what he says to big tech.
Well, I think it's been done in a way that's completely unprincipled. They mentioned the Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden story was true, okay? We now know it was true. And the typical corporate media outlets, they just chose to ignore it. Obviously,
he's right. They continued to ignore the Hunter Biden story. It was a nothing to see here, folks. It was kind of like a mafia-driven situation. But go ahead, Governor. Didn't mean to interrupt you.
They wanted to beat Trump. They had a view on the election. They didn't want to give it any air. So we rely on social media to go around that, not let corporate legacy media outlets control the discourse and let us speak. So you had the New York Post to run it, and you couldn't get any traction. You couldn't get any reach on it because big tech put their thumb on the scale. So that was true. What they said at the time, it's a conspiracy or it's based on hacked information. Are you kidding me? You're trying to tell me if there was hacked information that could damage me, you guys wouldn't print it? Give me a break. You can whiz on my leg, but don't tell me it's raining. You guys would print it every single day if you could. And big tech would allow it to proliferate every single day, 24/7. So it's not being done in a principled basis. And it's not, there's threats on me. And it only gets taken down if law enforcement goes and tells them to do it. Otherwise, it just stays up. They're not moderating any of that. So they haven't done a good job in it. The thumb's always on the scale in one direction, and we just need to bring some protection for folks. I really, really worry when you have a business owner that may rely on some of these tools to do small business. If they engage in wrongthink or they go to the wrong political event, then all of a sudden they can act in concert and just take you off. You need to have protection against that.
Okay, guys, shut up already. So he's right. Ron DeSantis is right. You do need to have protections against that. I don't care what side of the aisle that you're on. I don't care what your thought process is. You should be entitled to say what you want to say. And it shouldn't be considered a threat to the other side. If you're that sensitive, get off of social media. Don't get on Twitter. Don't go on Facebook. the society is really upside down right now, and it's really scary because people are just really buying into the fear. Very, very horrible. People getting banned on Twitter is not fair. It's not fair. I don't want someone banned just because I disagree with what they say. I mean, if they're threatening someone's life, like, out there personally, yeah, then you ban them. But if they're not posing a threat to anyone, like, physically, you don't ban them. It's just not right. The cancel culture continues with the ladies of The View. They tried to berate Van Jones of CNN. Now, look, Van Jones, I don't agree with a lot of what he has to say or does, but I'll tell you one thing. I agree that he wants to unite with people. The man has character, okay? I mean, I might have teased him a few episodes ago, but hey, that goes without saying. You know, I'm just having fun with the entertainment factor of this, and I'm just telling you, this is getting out of control, and it is an ABC. This is a big network. And they're going after this guy. Listen to how this lady overtalks Mr. Van Jones.
But you did things like take smiling pictures with Candace Owens, who I think is very hurtful. Okay, do you not regret that? Do you not see that you're giving
Why should he regret it?
You don't regret taking pictures, smiling pictures with Candace Owens? I mean, how does that help the issue?
And
you're going to have to take it outside. Thanks to Van Jones, the reunited states will be streaming and on demand starting February 9th. For more information on the documentary and for resources on how to foster these conversations in your own community, you can visit our website. Van, take a nap. We'll be right back.
Laws are more important than people.
Man, see how they berated that guy? And Bayhart, I can't stand her, but that was good that she jumped in and says, you know what, enough of this. Take it outside. Because it's not cool to berate a man like Van Jones, all right? You might disagree with him for taking a picture with Candace Owens because she's a conservative. That's sad. Why shouldn't people try to get together and try to talk things out? That's what dinner conversations used to be about in my household growing up. We would talk things out. We might disagree with a lot of things, but we came to an agreement that, hey, it was awesome that we got to talk this out. And sometimes it even changed your thoughts and your ways for the better and not for the worse. Because people do not talk anymore. Everything's so separatist now. It's ridiculous. Look, I have friends that are liberals that do talk it out with me on certain things. Not very many of them do, but some of them do. I can count them with 2 fingers. If you don't communicate with one another and you don't talk about things, this is going to get a lot worse. We have to have these conversations. We have to get better as people. That's bottom line. And if we don't get together and have these conversations on both sides of the aisle, it's just going to keep going. Oh, you know, we got to push the hate. And that's all that's being pushed right now. That's all I see is this hatred being pushed. There's no unity. If there was unity, a lot of this rigmarole wouldn't be going on mainstream media television. If there was unity, the president-select Joe Biden would come out and says, hey, you know what? I don't care if you're a Republican, conservative, Democrat, independent. We need to work together for the betterment of the American people and not to be a czar and sign over 40 executive orders without consulting with the American people. We should not be impeaching the former president, who is just a normal, everyday citizen now. Wasting the taxpayers' money. Yes, indeed. And it's shameful. Shame on you guys for wasting the taxpayers' money. We're going to hear from Vice President-elect Kamala Harris as she talks about reparations for Black History Month. Oh boy, this is a good conversation that's going to be had on her side of the aisle. I want to hear what she has to say. I absolutely want to hear. I might not agree with it, but I want to hear what she has to say. And on our next episode, it'll be episode number 30, numero 30. with Tom Hughes. It's going to be exciting. He pastors 412 Church in the Inland Empire in Southern California. And for those of you around the world, he does a channel. It's called Hope for Our Times, and it is awesome. And he does a lot of prophecy updates. He's ranked top 10 in the world in prophecy. Absolutely awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have him on next week. It's going to be fun. You're listening to the Kennel Podcast right here on podbean.com, a Money Bin production. It is Money-tastico, baby, you cockroach. Back in a minute.
More with the street shooter himself right after this. Follow him on Twitter and Instagram at vinndogg Radio. He shoots straight from the hip, and if you don't like it, go and stuff yourselves. Back to the kennel with Mr. Keeping It Real himself, vinndogg Radio.
Welcome back to the Kennel with myself, vinndogg Radio, a Money Bin production, and please do like and subscribe to the podcast. Also on YouTube at Money Bin Productions with a Z at the end of productions. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get into Kamala Harris. She's going to talk about her thoughts on reparations. Oh my gosh, this is still a conversation happening, huh?
Do you support reparations for black people?
Well, listen. Again, we had over 200 years of slavery. We had Jim Crow for almost a century. We had legalized discrimination, segregation, and now we have segregation and discrimination that is not legal but still exists and is a barrier to progress.
Wait a minute, did she just stutter there a little bit? She should be a DJ. DJ Harris.
We have disparities around housing. We have disparities around education. We have disparities around income. And we have to recognize that everybody did not start out on an equal footing in this country. And in particular, black people have not. And so we have got to recognize that and do something about that and give folks a lift up. That's why, for example, I'm proposing the LIFT Act. Give people who are making $100,000 or less as a family a tax credit, which will benefit and uplift 60% of black families who are in poverty.
So by default, it affects black families, but there's not a particular policy for African Americans that you would explore.
But no, if you look at the reality of who will benefit from certain policies, when you take into account that they're not starting at the same place and they're not starting on equal footing, it will directly benefit black children, black families, black homeowners, because the disparities are so significant. So if we focus on the specific issues that have resulted in the greatest disparities, and we understand that that's part of why we're doing it. Listen, the reality also is this. Any policy that will benefit black people will benefit all of society. Let's be clear about that. Let's really be clear about that. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people.
Meanwhile.
Good morning, AIPAC. Good morning. What an honor. No. So let me be clear about what I believe. I stand with Israel because of our shared values, which are so fundamental to the founding of both our nations. No. I believe the bonds between the United States and Israel are unbreakable. No.
And she says no, but you gotta listen to this. And I hope she keeps her promise with Israel. Let's see. Let's do this.
And we can never let anyone drive a wedge between us. No. We must stand with Israel, which is why I support the United States' commitment to provide Israel with $38 billion in military assistance over the next decade.
She just said that, and I hope she stands by that word. You heard it here, folks. She said that the United States will still stand with Israel and provide $38 billion over the next decade. Campaign promises, campaign follies have happened, but let's continue.
So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No. I support full funding for Israel, including for the Arrow, David Sling, and the Iron Dome missile defense systems, which save lives. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No. And that's why I am fully committing to maintaining Israel's qualitative military edge. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people.
But she sure did put a whole lot of black people in jail when she was Attorney General in California.
No.
No.
Israel has more scientists and startups per capita than any other country in the world. And I'm proud that California, building on the 2014 commitments made by Prime Minister Netanyahu and Governor Brown, has facilitated many of these technological
Governor Brown, you just throw him in a toilet and forget about him. He's good for nothing.
Partnerships and investments.
Will people hold her feet to the fire in the mainstream media for what she had to say in 2014? Absolutely not. Let's see what else she said.
Today, Tel Aviv and Silicon Valley are inextricably linked.
She just interrupted me. You never interrupt the vinndogg on his own podcast. That is not hyperbole. I'm just kidding. Keep going, lady.
That our two countries remain on the cutting edge. And the third area of growing cooperation is water security. In this regard, we could not have a better example than Israel. Yes, Israel is a nation that is 60% desert, yet so water secure that it exports water to its neighbors. And Israel has been a great partner to California in this area. Take, for example, Carlsbad, California, where an Israeli company built a desalination plant which provides 50 million gallons of water to 400,000 Californians every day.
Meanwhile,
it talks about the contradictions. I don't want to hear any more from her. I just want you all to hear what she had to say, and you guys heard it. And she says that she's going to stand with Israel. This was back in 2014. One thing I do know, that Jesus is going to return very, 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 very soon. I don't know how soon. I don't know the day or the hour, because if we all knew the day of the hour, we'd be getting prepared for it. A lot of folks are still getting drunk and stuporous and being merry with one another and saying, you know what, stop your fairy tale thing about believing in God, this amusement park in the sky that you guys are going to go to when things are said and done. That is how people perceive heaven to be. A dream, they say. It's not a dream, it's reality. We're going to go there when my man Tom Hughes, Pastor Tom Hughes, comes in on the next episode of The Kennel, and it's going to be fun because we are going to cut right to the grid. We're going to get to it. And I told him, don't hold back when you come onto the podcast because people need to hear the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God. Yeah. So we're doing that next time on The Kennel. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you guys to come and check out the next episode. I want you to tell your friends, tell family members. I want the millions and the billions around the world to know what happens on the Kennel podcast because it is very vital that people know the goings-ons in America and around the world. The reason why I came up and started doing this podcast is I said, you know what? I really care about people. I want people to have an excellent life. And I also want people to know the truth. Truth really does matter. People say, this happened and that happened. You know, it's so bad in this world that the truth is considered a lie, and the lie has been considered the truth. And the lie has been told for so long that people believe it to be the truth. I am just so sick of the division in this country. And I hope you are too. It's not going to take the government to unite this country. It takes the people. This country was built for and by the people. That's the United States Constitution and Bill of Rights. We have to stop depending on government to run our lives and to tell us how we should live and to tell us what we need. You should only know what you need. I know what I need. I know what I want. I need and want to pursue happiness in this country. And America was built for that, for the pursuit of happiness. And it doesn't mean you have to be a gazillionaire to be happy in America. It's saying, hey, let me be free and leave me alone, government. Everybody's in the mind state that the government has to be your daddy. If you want the government to play daddy, and give you everything that you desire, you know there's going to be a huge price to pay. It is called obey, submit, conditioning to submission, my friends. Nothing is for free when the government is going to hand it to you like that. You have to give yourselves and your families a leg up. In the 1950s, these are true stats. Black families were thriving. I don't care what race you are, what people group you come from. This country was built for you, me, and everyone else. The separatism has to stop. I'm calling out all the Democrat politicians and Republican politicians. Get your heads out of your nalgas and get together and start working together for the betterment of the people and stop working for the betterment of your pockets. We break our backs and you're earning money off of us for doing absolutely nothing for us. We send you to Washington to do something for us and we get zilch. And there is one person that I do say is one of the most prejudiced people when it comes to party lines is Nancy Pelosi. If you're not in Nancy Pelosi's party, she cares nothing about you. Look at the actions that she was taking against the former president of the United States. You know what this is? They are impeaching on hate. They can't stand the guy. When you get elected, politicians, and that's what you guys are, why don't you do your job and start working for us? And stop fueling your hate. You talk about unity, but you're still pushing the hate agenda. And start saving the lives of preborn babies too while you're at it. I want to see the next innovator in society be born into this world to do something good in the eyes of God. I love the America that says that people are free to express, that people are free to go to their churches, people are free to start their own businesses, people are free to speak how they feel without being penalized for it. That's America, ladies and gents, boys and girls, numbskull politicians of all ages. Stop the bickering and get to work. Sometimes I feel that we Americans have to get on your necks and start talking to you like we're your parents because you guys can't get it together. And stop listening to that idiot Mitch Cocaine McConnell and Mitt the Cricket Neck Romney. They are poor excuses for political leaders. And John Wafflehead Kerry, you do not want anything for the betterment of the American people? Look at the way your pocketbook looks, bud. You guys are fighting tooth and nail across the aisle, and people are suffering just because we said, okay, that's cool. Let's do what they say and let's flatten the curve. 15 days turned into, oh my God, we're going to have to do this for the rest of our lives type situation right now. And then these mask mandates are out of control. Talk about the tyranny that is going on in America. Let people decide for themselves. You cannot stop people from dying, government. And stop trying to play the role of God, thinking that you know what to do. Because God knows exactly what to do since the beginning of time. Thank you so much for listening to the Kennel Podcast right here on podbean.com, a Money Bin production. Yes, and please follow us and add us on YouTube. We need to get those thousands of subscribers. We need to get it up in the air. I love the simple fact that I can come here and talk to you. I love the simple fact that I can say what's on my mind and heart. You don't have to agree with it 100%. But if you agree with at least 5 to 10% of it, that's good. Let's make some progress together. Let's mend these fences and work together as people. I don't care about either one of those parties. People says, well, you're a conservative and you vote Republican. I said I tend to lean Republican if the person is doing the right job. But I do love the country, so I am a patriot for America. Thank you very much. Whew. God bless you all. God bless the world. Take care and love one another. That's what we need to do the most. You're listening to the Kennel Podcast with myself, vinndogg Radio, baby. A Money Bin production once again, you freaking cockroach.